are now tuned in to United Football Media. Tell me about it. The #1 wraparound show from the #1 Spring Football League media group, covering the #1 Spring Football League, the UFL. We're just a week out from being able to predict some games. The season is coming up soon. We're all so very hyped about it. Joining me tonight, we'll keep doing the introduction for a couple of more weeks, but we'll all be family soon. It looks like we're almost family already, because we just want to thank everybody for checking out and supporting so much the video, our debut episode that we put up last week. It did awesome numbers, far exceeded my expectations. Super happy with it. Thank you all so much. But for the time being, I'm joined by one of the hottest up-and-comers on sports TikTok until the government bans it. He is Tay from Tay's Takes LLC. We got the coach in the house. He's a writer for Medium.com, Jeff Axel. We got a former sports commentator and writer also from Medium.com, and a musician, our guy, the true God. We are here talking this second week of training camp going on. The cover story is unfortunately a bit of a downer. Got to start off with a little bit of negative information here in the beginning. Unfortunately, one of the stars of the league, definitely the lead story right now, is that Abram Smith of the DC Defenders went down this week with a torn ACL, a huge blow to one of the premier offenses, one of the top 10 players in the league. Really, their offense is predicated on a spread run, kind of a heavy gun, heavy spread read option. He was a huge part of the offense, a potential offensive player of the year, a potential MVP. It's just a huge loss. And it's a huge loss, not just to, for one, you're heartbroken for a guy like this who's fighting to get more tape out, fighting to keep the dream alive, and who was succeeding in doing such a great job. But it's also hurtful to the league because you have a star player who's a spectacular player going down that could put forward, more and more positive impression for the league. It hurts in so many ways. They have some interesting options coming in to possibly fill that gap. You got Puka Williams, a guy who's in the top 10 all-time leading rushers at the University of Kansas, even surpassed the legendary Gale Sayers in a couple of seasons and a couple of games, his single game and single season records. Guy ran a legit 4.3 at the combine when he went. He's only 170 pounds, though, and that offensive system could definitely put a beating on you. Also interesting, Cameron Harris out of the University of Miami came out of Florida as a 4-star recruit of high school. Really big expectations for the guy. He never quite developed into the star that everybody thought he was going to be. Never quite got 1,000 yards at the university, but still a ton of talent there. And another piece of information that maybe things aren't quite as gloomy is that Jordan Tiamu made a huge amount of progress in the passing game last year, as far as refining himself as a passer, completion percentage, touchdowns to interception ratio. So hopefully he can continue to take more steps, because they have a nice receiver group out there with Kiki Kuti, Lucky Jackson, and Kelvin Harmon. So you hope that these other guys who are getting this opportunity are going to be able to step into it. You hope this offense is going to be able to keep humming and keep that great vibe alive down there in DC. It's a tough one, though. Axe, thoughts?
Well, first off, prayers to Abram Smith, and hopefully he can recover. Torn ACLs are tough. It usually takes about a year or so. So hopefully he recovers from that. The defenders is going to have to be running back by committee, with Puka Williams, Cameron Harris, and Darius Haggins as well. They're all going to have to step up. And as you said, Tiamu's going to have to step up in the passing game, because Smith led the team in rushing yards, attempts, touchdowns. He was an integral part of what they did. So the defenders, they were ranked high and predicted to be one of the better teams in the UFL. So it's it's going to be an adjustment to. It's a test about their versatility. We'll see how versatile this team is and how dependent on Abram Smith they were. Like, it's definitely a tough blow. It's unfortunate.
Tays takes. You got a take on this?
Yes. I think the defenders will be just fine. You know, next man up. Like that's kind of how I see some things. I know he's one of the best players in the league, but with the right coaching, right play calling, right scheme, I think he could be just fine. Like I wouldn't, like if you had them as favorites, I wouldn't shy away from that because they lost Abram Smith. I would stay put, you know, and just believe in their depth. You know, they still, to me, they still have some talented running backs on their roster. So I would say hold the brakes on pulling them out of the contention and whatnot. I think they're still a great team. Their quarterback, he's a pretty good quarterback to me. So I think the defenders will be just fine. It is a tough blow for them, but they'll be able to overcome.
Pump the brakes on the doom and gloom, says Tay. True thoughts on this loss for the league?
I agree with Tay in the sense of like, I know that's a rare thing for me to agree with Tay, but I agree. I think
turning over a new leaf over here on United Football Media.
Yeah, trying my best, but I know. I think Von Hutchins knows what he's doing over there in DC, and I think you could easily get some replacements for Smith. I mean, that's a big loss, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's no shortage of players that are willing to step up. I did see something I want to say about like possibly Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell being looked at as like possible replacement. And I thought that, and I was like, if you could go from Abram Smith to one of those guys, I mean, obviously they're not in the primes anymore, but if you could do that, then that also makes it entirely more interesting for the UFL in general to get names of that stature all over, especially for a team like the DC Defenders, who I believe is probably, in my opinion, probably the most popular team. I guess I'm biased because, the Maryland connection, but I always see people talking about DC Defenders. So I think it'll work out just fine. I think, once again, you're running on a very short window of time to find somebody to fit into your offense. So if you do go get somebody like a Le'Veon Bell or Adrian Peterson, or it's just another top tier running back, it's not going to be, super seamless right away. But after that first week, at first practice, you start to get acclimated. So I think it'll be fine. They have a talented team, like a ridiculously talented team. That's why they're, in the preseason rankings, they're ranked so high. And we all here have said we think very highly of the DC Defenders, so they'll be fine.
Another person, we talked about him last week on the show, Jalen Samuels, still out there on the street as far as I can tell. I haven't seen anything about him getting picked up. I think he would be an awesome addition. Did you guys know that Jalen Samuels was rated an 83 overall on Madden this year? This year's Madden. So that guy is on the street, available to XFL teams. So
that's crazy.
Like I said, very talented. I'd love to see that be the possible replacement in DC. Add some talent to that roster. Axe, you had some other wraparound notes that you wanted to lay down for everybody going into this next week as camp continues on.
Yeah, just checking in what certain teams are saying and what sources are saying about different teams and how they're standing out in practice. They're saying Slade Bolden, he's probably been wide receiver number 1 for Birmingham. I know in the preseason we had talked about how Birmingham had him, Deion Kane, and Benjamin Victor. So they're going to have multiple threats to receiver. But Slade Bolden, he's very sure-handed. He's a precise route runner for those that aren't familiar. So I can see him being very impactful, potentially having about 50 catches this season. Don't be surprised if he's on the leaderboard of a couple receiving stats this year for Birmingham. Slade Bolden is very good. I'm seeing something about a wide receiver on the Memphis Showboats named Vinny Papale. Maybe we could ask some of our Showboats correspondents about him. They're saying he's likely going to be number 1. He's a precise route runner. He led the team in touchdowns last season. a defensive lineman named Breland Speaks for the Michigan Panthers. He had 53 tackles and 9 sacks in the USFL last season. So he's going to be a potential defensive player of the year candidate. That's one of the main things that I've been hearing early on. He's been playing strong so far. And been hearing that Wayne Gallman II, he's been doing well for St. Louis as a running back. Because I remember earlier in the season, we were talking about A.J. McCurran to Akeem Butler, that connection being one of the better connections in the UFL. So if they can have a strong running game with Wayne Gallman II, like that, give them great balance. They could potentially run some play actions and have some more deep threats going to Akeem Butler. So I'm intrigued because St. Louis is one of the better teams, in my opinion. So I'm intrigued to see what Wayne Gallman II does.
Wayne Gallman got a couple of opportunities to start in the NFL, namely for the Giants. So very talented player, very explosive at Clemson. So if they, could add another dimension to that offense, it is going to be scary, scary times for those Battlehawks.
And I saw that Bob Stoops said that Luis Perez, he's completing 75% of his passes at training camp. So he's
tried to tell you. We tried to warn you. We tried to tell you.
Some people in the comments said we overrating him a little bit, but I was like, I don't know. Like, he looks to be playing well in Bob Stoops' offense. I'm not sure.
I started laughing when I heard that because I remember we had Brandon here last week. He said, "Oh, well, Ehlers is on his podcast saying, the guy's on his own podcast saying that, oh, no, I'm doing great and this is a competition." Right. Good stuff. No,
Bob Stoops said Ehlers is doing well, though. They said him and Whitehead were having good chemistry, too.
We told you here first. Luis Perez. Here we go. Taze takes. He's off to a hot start because he tried to tell you a little bit of underrating. Another subject we wanted to jump into this week, since things are ramping up for the league, ramping up to the season, you're seeing more and more online sports betting apps putting AFL numbers up, AFL futures odds, AFL, all kinds of stuff. So we got a hold of some of those, and we wanted to jump into which ones we thought were values, which ones we like. This is not necessarily who we think is going to win, not necessarily, but who we think could be an interesting gambling value for the championship XFL this year. Hard Rock Bets just got in this week. They have Birmingham at 350, the DC Defenders at 375, St. Louis Battlehawks at plus 400, Arlington Renegades at plus 525, the Houston Roughnecks at plus 650, the Memphis Boats baby, plus 800, the Michigan Panthers plus 1300, and surprisingly to me, last, the San Antonio Brahmas at plus 1400. Now, I'll start, and that's where I'm going to start. We have been back and forth. I would not be surprised to have you say that, it doesn't sound like the Tell Me About It crew is super hot and hyped about the San Antonio Brahmas. And so far we haven't been, but plus 1400 to me is very, very tasty. I'm not sure what that trajectory, but it wouldn't be the biggest shock I've ever seen in my life. I will say that. There is a path forward for these guys. If Quentin Darmody can continue to improve upon what he did last year, this is a spread offense. So we say, not a lot of names are sticking out to us, but those spread offenses sometimes can neutralize the lack of big-time names, big-time athletes, and kind of even things out, and open things up, make things one-on-one. It's on from there. We actually kind of like some of their skill spot guys. We still like Anthony McFarland in the backfield. Plus 1400 to me is a bet definitely worth snagging up, just from some of the talent that we have seen on there. The coaching, Wade Phillips is obviously very experienced, has accomplished a lot. They have a good home field advantage down there in the Alamo Dome. I don't hate it at 1400. True, you are down there just grinning away because now we're in your realm. which one do you see as a good value, a good betting value?
I like the Houston Roughnecks personally.
Okay.
I think that's not a dark horse, because I mean, it's 8 teams, right? So it's like you go on a 3-4 game win streak and you're putting yourself in prominent position to get some momentum, and that can always lead into the playoff and to the championship. So I think
Roughnecks at plus 650.
I like that one. As far as I have not felt like the Brahmas are gonna have enough to really make a run at it. I know they have some solid players there, but I just don't feel like it's gonna work out for them. I think a lot of people have them at the bottom of their board for rankings. And everything I've seen so far has had them very low, nothing in the middle. And maybe we're all sleeping on the Brahmas, right? Maybe we're all sleeping on them. Maybe we're all kind of like, and obviously the 1400 does plus, intrigue me a little bit.
Plus 1400, I'm not sleeping on it.
It does intrigue me because the secret of sports betting that I don't think people understand is like, if you see something that is like, wow, those odds are kind of crazy, I would never take that. That's the average person who doesn't understand what they're doing. The sports books, you see that and you're gonna go, like, I'll do a brief example. So, like, a couple games ago, this is basketball, I know it's not football, but it's like Jamal Murray was listed for like 5 threes at plus 800. And you're like, Jamal Murray don't shoot that many threes in a game, right? He doesn't shoot that many threes in a game. It doesn't really happen. And what happened? He had 6 of them in the game. And so when you see that, it sticks out. It has to stick out to me. You're like, I wouldn't play. That's a waste of time. And then when you see stuff like this, and I can't wait till the season starts, because I'm sure we're going to see some interesting props for sure then. So I think the Brahmas, it is intriguing. Who was right? It was who was the other team that's like right above them? I forgot.
The Panthers at plus 1200.
Okay, see, that one you could avoid because the Panthers gonna suck. But
I'm out. I'm out on that one. Suck. You ain't talking me into that one.
Yeah, they're gonna suck.
That's why we're talking values here, because these things are long shots for a reason, but then like True was saying, the way sports betting works, if you want to dig into these values, is you see things that are long shots for a reason, but then you start to put together in your mind, okay, but could this happen? What's the most likely thing that could happen? Yes, exactly.
So like, I want to say something real quick about Luis Perez, right? So watch Luis Perez when his props come out, when he starts, you're going to see a lot of crazy props from him because people are starting to like, you're overrating him. And then some people think you're underrating him. So he's going to be in the middle, and he's going to have one of those games where it's going to be like a plus 500 for him to throw for however many yards. And he's going to throw for like almost double that. So you have to watch for that, because the books, not going to go too much into it. They know. The books know what's going on. They know what's going on. And I think that's the thing about this. Luis Perez, AJ, all the quarterbacks and all the running backs who are people going to have their eye on, watch their props. When you see stuff, and it happened with the NFL too, like I guess like Najee Harris going for 80 yards or something like that becomes a plus 200, 300, and he has a 100-yard rushing game, and you're like, man, 100 yards was plus 900, plus 1,000. Like, why didn't I think of that? You have to watch for those values. I still don't believe in the Brahmas. I still don't believe in them. I don't believe. We had
a bunch of Brahmas fans getting rowdy in our comments last week. So
I saw
that'll bring forth more of it. Axe, who do you got as a betting value out of that group?
I like the Arlington Renegades. What was it? Plus 525 for them?
Yeah, you've been able to get the league champion of the XFL last year for 525. Ooh.
Yeah,
that's
I believe
in the sweet spot right there. That's the sweet spot of combining the odds versus the talent level and experience. To me, I completely agree.
Yeah, believe in the offense, believe in the coaching, believe in the defense. I would take the safe bet. Like, I'm not a believer in the Brahmas like you are. I just don't really believe.
I'm not a believer, but I'm a believer at plus 1400.
Okay, I'll feel you on that. I said I'm not huge in the gambling world. I'm just like an amateur, so I'm gonna play it safe, man. So if you want to play it safe, just go to Arlington Renegades plus 525. Yeah.
Tay.
Man, I've been waiting to talk. So let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all read? You know, it says championship winner, right? Not who's gonna win 4 games, who's gonna win 3 games. It says winner. Y'all are out of your minds to really think that San Antonio is going to win the championship. Win, not go, not compete. Win. You gotta remember, it says winner.
Plus 1,400.
No way. I'm not wasting $1 on that.
Okay. Whatever you say, that's scared money don't make money, brother. What do
That's
you who do you got? We're also, me and True are also amateurs. Definitely amateurs. Don't ask us for any money. We don't win anything. Tay. Never that. Tay, who do you got as a value?
I said it last week, and if I have to, I say it anyway. I got San Antonio. Oh no, I don't have San Antonio. That's the last team on my list. My bad.
You
want to.
I mean, that's all y'all were talking about.
Freudian slip right there, brother.
The worst.
The truth is coming out.
St. Louis, my bad. Like I said it last week. I say it every week. If I have to, I'm going with St. Louis. That's the team that's going to win the championship. I'm not taking the team that's going to win 2 games. There's no, come on.
Birmingham's elite too, though.
Huh?
Birmingham's elite too, though. They're in the mix as well for a
championship. Yeah, they are.
That's the one.
But if my pick is St. Louis, that's who I'm putting my money on. I'm not putting my money on a team that's not going to win 5 games. No way.
Okay, so you are that confident in it that the Battlehawks are winning. You're just going to go, because that's another betting strategy, is you take, these games that you are completely positive about, and then you just put a huge bet on it. That also is the way a lot of people do it, is you take what is considered an easy bet and then put a lot on it. So are you that level of confident? Like this is taking candy from a baby, levels of easy. But I mean, you already said that you put your money where your mouth is. $100 on the Battlehawks, right?
Sure did.
So you're that confident. Taking candy from a baby.
I don't know why the odds are. I don't know why they're plus 400. They should be minus 150. In my opinion, gosh. I'm that confident. I'm that confident. As soon as I saw that, jumped right on it.
Could you give a reason for your belief in the gap between them and everybody else?
Offense. It's just so like high powered and electric to me. Like I'm an offense guy. I do respect defense, but I'm an offense guy. And the offense just, to me, it just looks the best. It just looks better than anyone else's offense. Like I'm a big fan of the receiving core. It's just they're just gonna have the most high powered offense, and I to me that wins games. I think that wins championships, but
they are going to have pretty easily the most loaded from a skill position, from a name value offense in the league. It's tough to argue with. So I got you. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Tell Me About It, United Football Media. Please search around this rest of the YouTube page that you are watching right now. Check out United Football Media. We have correspondents covering every team in the UFL, from the Defenders, the Brahmas, the Stallions. Stallions Run is a popular one we got here. And, of course, our guys Webb and Ace, they go at it on polar opposites, talking everything that you would want to be talked about in the United Football League. UFL, United Football Media. Please look around the rest of this YouTube page and get everything that this brand has to offer. We will be back next Monday at noon with finally some game predictions. Finally be able to dig into the games coming up and start this journey. We're super happy to be a part of it. United Football Media covering the UFL. This has been United Football Media. Tell me about it.